Hello, my cactus friends. Here we are in a sea of Bridgesii. You might be asking, why are we in the sea of Bridgesii? Well, I want to show a very special clone to you guys. The Sonoran Bridgesii. Let me pick her up so you can see her in the sun. And I'm going to go through the backstory of this guy, this very prolific clone, and how he found his way to the community. It's kind of a cool new clone that's come out that I don't think it was like arbitrarily made. I think that this dude has earned his spot in the community, and anybody that loves the Sonoran Desert is gonna end up loving this guy, especially because I think a lot of us love Bridgesiis, and because look at how prolific that is. This is a smaller cut, nothing too crazy, right? Already got 3 pups coming off of it. I cut the tip off and sold it to a gentleman in the Chihuahua Desert. So the Sonoran Bridgesii is making its rounds, and you can see this dude doesn't even really have too many mature spines. A lot of this, love that blue, look at that blue. A lot of this is skinny growth, but you can see he doesn't care anymore. He etiolated right here, and I chopped it, and now we got 3 good sized clones coming in. Heck yeah. So I'm gonna walk you through the backstory while I show you some of my other ones. I got about 5 to 6 pretty good ones going, and we're gonna tell you a little story about the Sonoran Bridgesii and how he made his debut to the community, and how we all have a piece to treasure now of the Sonoran Desert. So if that's something you guys want to stay tuned for, please hit that like button, and let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Now here's one I got in the ground, and it is the biggest piece that I got given to me to begin with. So this is basically my biggest mother plant right there. It did the fabled pineapple pup. That was the first time Sonoran Bridgesii kind of went viral on the Reddits. And look at how many pups are coming in. This thing, every time I cut it, you can see I cut it right there, bam, throws a pup. Cut it right there, bam, throws another pup. Another cut right here, bam, hello sir, I'll throw a pup. Now I'll keep going. Now it's hard to tell the spines. You can see, kind of has little Bridgesii like structures, like that classic 3. But when you take a look at the old growth is when you really start to see it. So it really just has those predominant Bridgesii spines. It does go bald occasionally, which is amazing. And yeah, look at that. It gets thick, and I've yet to get it that thick because I was moving when I got to this cut. So let's get into the story, right? Oh yeah, I also wanted to show this. So this is how blue it'll get once it's in shade. If you keep it in shade, it'll stay this nice blue hue. Look at that. All right. Enough admiring cactus. Let's go to another one. Let's talk about why and what happened when I got this big old arm right here. Starts here, it's probably about 2-foot arm, and I got a couple other big old arms. So we'll go to one of the other stands that's been started with that arm, and we'll tell the backstory of it. All right, so I mentioned the move earlier, but that was a little foreshadowing. Let's get into the story. So back in the day, there's a place on Reddit called Spore Traders. Now, Spore Traders used to be where everybody on Reddit would go get their mushroom genetics. Any kind of mushroom genetics, you'd go to Spore Traders. We were one of the top vendors over on Spore Traders, and I live in Arizona, and Arizona is not the best place for wild mushrooms. So people would always be foraging wild mushrooms and then selling the spores of them, and it was kind of hard for us to compete with that because I don't really have wild mushrooms that I can just forage like that. So what ended up happening was we would post the cactus, and we would post like our spores behind like a wall or a sea of cactus, and get people intrigued with the cactus in the mushroom community. And we did a lot of work educating people on these cactus. And one of the people that we were educating ended up, well, he wasn't really somebody we were educating, but he was a follower. And he made one of his first posts, and he basically didn't really have any history posting, which kind of sketched me out, but he hit me up and he said, hey, I think that I have a Bridgesii growing wild in the Sonoran Desert, but I don't know what to do with it. And I was like, no way. Well, I'll come take a cutting. He said that he had a couple cuttings he had already taken. So I was like, I'll come take a cutting. And he lived in an apartment, so he didn't really want to grow the cactus. He just wanted to hand them to somebody who would, me, and then get mushroom spores so that he could do mushroom stuff with it. So I was like, yeah, dude, I love trades, and I'll make that trade with you. So I think we traded him a good amount of spores so that I could get, I think it was like 3 cuttings or something like that. And when I went there, you know, I took my friend, and my friend was prepared for things to go wrong because this dude didn't have any post history. And I also had my now wife, McKenna, with me because she was also a cactus freak. So I went there, and we wanted to see what this gentleman had. And he had sent me pictures, and I'd ID'd it for him. But it's another thing to see it in person, if that makes sense. So when we go there, he was like, oh, bro, you were totally right with that ID. And this was Bridgesii. I was like, I know, dude. I know my shit. And then he told me that he had actually made tea, and he had tripped it. And I was kind of upset about that because this was just kind of a wild cactus. So I don't know if it's good to cut, but it was a mother stand. So I'm like, all right, bro, it's probably only a couple feet. No, they cut way too much onto the next cactus. So he was telling me, oh, bro, we tripped it, and it was a good time. I think you were right about your ID. That was not serious, and that was a Bridgesii. Because keep in mind, this was growing out in the wild of the Sonoran Desert, in a ravine where it was getting a little more shade than normal, and it was getting more water when it rains, but it's still a very rare rain. So this dude was dehydrated as shit, and he looked almost like a cirrus. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. Come on, guy. And while he looked like a cirrus, I could see the fresh growth looked like Bridgesii. So I knew what it was, basically. He trip report said it was great. I was kind of like, all right, dude, where are my cuts now? And he showed me a couple cuts that he had, and there was a couple big ones. One of the cuts that he had, let's see if I can show you. Oh, I don't see it, but there's a couple big ones, and he had them reserved to the side. One of them was the one that I just showed you at the beginning, the big stand. And the dude had basically said, oh, I have these ones reserved for another trip. And I was like, okay, so you're gonna do it again. Well, let me see pics of the mother stand. Like, I'd love to see this thing out in the Sonoran Desert. And then the dude with a straight face told me he chopped it all down. Now my heart sank, like, unbelievably. And I remember trying to fight back lecturing him too hard, but I definitely gave him a pretty good lecture about, hey, dude, you should not just do that. That is not good practice at all. And he was like, no, yeah, this is like the rest. Like, I gave some to my homie, and then I took some so I could get these spores from you, and then we have some reserved for another trip, basically. And I held out the spores. I was like, no, dude, you're not gonna eat any more of this if you guys killed the whole thing. So I told him I wasn't gonna trade him any spores. I was really the only person he knew for the spores, unless I got the other cactus like that he had reserved. And he reluctantly gave it to me. So that's how I ended up with like a couple extra pieces. I'll see if I can throw some images up of them. But the original images, it was beautiful. It was covered in flower buds, and I think it was like stress flowering its ass off. And it's something that I really, really wished he didn't fully chopped down. I really wish that he could have showed me it. But I have a theory that maybe he just said that. Maybe he just doesn't want anyone to go out and look for it, you know? He said it was off trail, and I only gather him and his friends were going to smoke or something. And it was somewhere near Scottsdale, North Phoenix, up in the mountains. I will put a bounty on this. I will trade whatever cut of my garden you want. I'll trade you 3 of them. If you can find me this stand in the wild, if you take pictures of it and you send it to me, shit, I'll give you the shirt off my back, bro. I really, really want to track this down and make sure that it's still alive and living. I don't want you to post it online for other people to go and steal it. Just DM me, email me, troy@spores.com, and we'll definitely make sure to make it worth your while if you find this. It was up in the mountains, North Phoenix, Scottsdale area, off trail. Don't go too far off trail. I'm not recommending you go off trail. Just search with binoculars on the trail. That's better, you know. I can't recommend you go off the trail, but find him and send me pictures of the stand in the wild, please, and I will go verify it and make sure that you were honest, and bam, you'll get a fat prize. I'll be thrilled. All right, on to the next one. Bam, look at this. Look at that. Just a prolific pupper, no matter what. Nice. Let me see if I can get my hand in there for you. Nice, decent growth. All right, so I got the cuts and I took it home. They were flowering so profusely that one of the flowers that was coming out, it was so stressed because it had been cut off its rootstock. It had pineapple pupped, which is where it does this crazy mutation growth. I'll probably throw up a picture of the pineapple pup. But it does this crazy mutation growth where it almost looks like the beginnings of a flower, and then it just reverts to an arm, and it becomes like the cactus basically decides, you know what, I'm gonna turn this flower into an arm now, and then it grows a fat arm off of the flower. It's kind of crazy, and I hadn't known that was really a thing, and a lot of people hadn't known that was a thing, so I posted it on Reddit. It was probably like 5 years ago. This was a while ago. And a lot of people were confused, and then a couple, really smart people in the cactus community were educating all of us on it, me included, because I didn't know what the hell was happening. And that was one of the first times I think we really all saw a pineapple pup. And our Reddit account, of course, was deleted. So I wish I still had these posts and stuff, but I do still have like original pictures and stuff like that. But that was the first time that he really, really went viral. The second time, at least I think it was the second time. I've posted it a lot, and I named it immediately, but didn't really put too many cuts out of it, if that makes sense. But I had just found out that this dude, once he's soaked up water, is actually the Sonoran Bridgesii, and he's one of the most dehydrated cactus that I've ever had. He went viral on Reddit as well, or at least he went popular. I shouldn't say viral, because there's only like 100 upvotes, It's nothing crazy, but people like it. And he was dehydrating to death, one of the closest to death that I've ever seen. And then I TLC'd it for a month, put it in nice moist soil for a month, then let it dry out, and boom, he rebounded fully, and now he's going off. He's doing his thing. We might take a look at him later, but let's go take a look at another one. I'm debating putting this one in the ground at my mom's place. This is the reason why I'm looking at all these, is because I need to find a good one to put in the ground. This one seems pretty good, honestly. I think I might go with this one, and then I might just chop that top arm right off, and then let this new pup be the arm. Let this be the stand. That sounds like a pretty good idea. All right, so let's go look at what else we got. Another nice little one here under the shade. Smaller. And this is our little rooting zone. Got another one in here, rooting on up. That's a pretty decent one, probably like 20 plus inches. So let's talk about the name of the Sonoran Bridgesii, just so that I can throw out any misconceptions, because there's gonna be a couple. So the Sonoran Bridgesii is not named after my company. I was just the one that the dude hit up and gave all of the clones to, and I've been just steadily growing the genetics out for like 5+ years. And I had a couple years stunted because of moving to this house, which is why I mentioned that earlier. So the growth isn't as good as I would have wanted for the amount of time I've had with this clone, to be honest. But I've done my best, and I haven't killed any of it, which is perfect. And now it's doing very well, now that I've had time to actually set up cactus areas and stuff like that at the new house. So this clone is named after the Sonoran Desert, which is where it was wildly found. It was always a dream of mine as a cactus collector, especially one from Arizona, that we would find a stand of actual San Pedro that somebody planted out here. Back in the 70s and 80s, there was a lot going on in California where they were planting a lot of San Pedro out there in the wild. And I had often theorized, that these cactus could probably survive if they were in the right microclimate out here. And the right microclimate would have to be taking morning sun and then being in a ravine or somewhere on a canyon where it gets blocked off by the afternoon sun, or a nice nurse tree is over it. Either way, it's very possible. The only thing that would be hard is the seeds germinating out here. Due to how dry it is, these seeds really want the first year to be nice and humid, and they want it to stay wet. We just don't really get years like that. So it's hard for seeds to go. So somebody has to plant it, I feel like. And if you plant a big enough one, I think it could establish and do fine. I have one out that basically doesn't take any water and is huge, and it just grows slower. But it doesn't need extra water. It can take our natural rainwater, and that's enough for it if it's big enough. So because I had that, and then somebody actually ends up hitting me up with that, and they say, hey, I found one in the wild. We really wanted to name it after the Sonoran Desert because there's a lot of Cali ones that have it, and there's really none from Arizona. But being from Arizona, I guarantee you, there's a couple like trickle down Cali ones. We kind of get all of Cali's like trickle downs, if that makes sense. No diddy. But if they're on a trend, something over here usually pops off. So I was pretty confident that we would be able to get it and that we would find one. Long behold, we find one right here. So that is the Sonoran Bridgesii. My name, or our company, is the Sonoran Spores. I just really love the Sonoran Desert. So back when I was younger, I was actually like 19 when I made the company. We chose that because I just wanted to represent Arizona in the Sonoran Desert because of how cool I felt like it was. I was also into cactus immediately as I got into mushrooms. So I wanted a name that also kind of like, hey, we do both, if that makes sense. So you hear like desert and spores and mushrooms. So we do cactus and mushrooms. I really want this guy to represent the Sonoran Desert. If you grow him, you can think of him as I have a piece of a wild Bridgesii from the Sonoran Desert. It doesn't have to be from Sonoran Spores. That's just a coincidence that we got the Sonorans. It just is the same desert, and we happen to share that. This clone is not named after me. I hope to one day name a clone and pheno hunt, but this guy was kind of just plopped and placed into my lap, and I've just grown it for the community so that we can keep this piece of Arizona alive and spread it far and wide and show everybody, hey, look at this cool ass Bridgesii that can thrive in the driest of conditions, the harshest of suns, and still throw off flower buds that turn into pineapple pups. I mean, wow, what a clone. So, I mean, if you guys really, really like the Sonoran Bridgesii, let me know. Show me a comment. Say, hey, that's a great clone that there is, and I can't wait till it comes out. We're going to do a giveaway of it very soon on Reddit. So go follow us on Reddit. And after the giveaway, we'll host the first auction of the Sonoran Bridgesii. And we're going to find the nicest piece that I got, the cleanest cut, and we're going to auction that off to the community. If you don't have a ton of money and you're worried that the auction might be too much for you, don't worry. Just come back next year. As you see, I have a bunch of them going, and we are going to start just sending pups out like mad. Next year, it'll probably be a lot easier to get your hands on this cut. This year is gonna be more of a novice and super collector kind of thing. And, you know, a couple giveaways to make people like get a couple cool things and then maybe post about it and have fun with it. Cause I don't want it to just be auctions and stuff like that. We want some people to enjoy this that are gonna enjoy cactus. So if you like that, please smash the like button. I hope you guys had a good time coming along and learning a little bit about the Sonoran Bridgesii. I might throw on some pictures or something like that at this end because I've just been doing stuff like that. And if you like those, please do tell me about it. I hope you all have a blessed day here underneath the rooting structure. Look at all these guys. We're doing our thing at Sonoran Spores, and I hope you are too. Have a blessed day. Peace out.